guys ready to go see the sugar shack? Let's go. Alright, so I was not joking. It is literally a shack. It is a glorified tent that over the last 2 years has somehow managed to somewhat survive. Now, I'm going to walk you through exactly what our sugar shack looks like. And when I say that you can make a shack out of anything, you can make a shack out of anything. Oh, man, it's freezing cold out here. Okay, I'm going to be fast. Our first problem when we put this up that we knew we were going to have is the wind. As you can see, this is a gentle wind, and it's whipping this pretty good. We'll get 70 mile an hour winds blowing through here, so whatever we put up had to be structurally sound and not take off down to the neighbor's house or the cow pasture. So we went through and we hammered in these, I don't even know what you'd call these giant stakes. These are about 3 feet long, so there's about 2.5 feet of that going into the ground with these giant industrial ratchet strap ties. And what is it hooked to? It is hooked to pallet racking. Yes, that is pallet racking. They are 2 sets of pallet racking that we actually connected together. So you have one set of pallet racking right there and another set of pallet racking right there. Now they don't normally connect into each other, but here's what we did. It's actually pretty genius. You're gonna love this. All right, so here's our one set of pallet racking. See that? You can see the cross bracing up there at the top, which is supporting our roof. And then we have another crossbar right there, but it doesn't actually connect in. So what we ended up doing is duct taping 2x4s. No joke. See? Actually, it looks like Eric got some really long bolts and he bolted it in. So he did utilize the holes in this thing, but there's 2x4s. See how they're duct taped? None of this is treated wood, it's just regular 2x4s, all duct taped together. Now the reason that we duct taped 2x4s to the metal is so that we had something to screw into, because you can't obviously screw into metal. It doesn't work too good. This is a lot easier. So this tarp is what was left from our original round top that we put out here in the springtime to store hay in. We had a tornado go through and it just tore it to shreds. And because these tarps are so expensive, we decided to keep it and use it for something down the road. So we basically took the whole thing and wrapped it around the sugar shack, which was a feat in itself. And if you look up here, there's actually 2 pieces of wood. You can see the 2x4 up there, but then we made furring strips, or 1x2s, whichever you want to call it. right up there. And we pulled the top of the tarp over it and then screwed the furring strip down into it. So it sandwiched it. Oh, let's see if I can, you can see how it's hanging over right there. And that gave it extra pull and extra leverage. So all of our corners have a 2x4 attached right here and duct tape. And it's all been holding together perfectly. So what is the roof? The roof is actually a horse stall. No joke. That was supposed to be my last horse stall, which Eric decided to use instead as a roof. I now can no longer use it as a horse stall. So the reason he chose that is because it's tongue and groove wood, which would allow a better ceiling pretty much, so that the roof wouldn't leak. Now last year the roof did start to leak, and so that's why I had the tarp there, because I was cooking syrup down and it was raining and it was dripping onto my head. Alright, so I had to go through and staple all that up to keep the drips off the syrup pan and off me. But before that, I actually had this insulation bubble wrap stuff, because these were used horse stall boards, which meant they were covered in crap, like really crap. Now, when maple syrup cooks, it steams. And if you've ever taken a shower, you know that when steam rises and hits the top of the ceiling, it drips back down. I did not want poop dripping back down into my syrup. Alright, so let's see what else do we have here. So, obviously we didn't want our roof catching fire, so we used some sheet metal around the chimney pipe. But actually that section of the chimney is cold anyway, so it didn't make a difference. Now right here, this is our sap container. We have 3 of these. We fill these with sap in the woods. We tractor them up here and we set them on top. And that's set on top of the pallet racking. Now this area we can close or we can open. We just re-screw it in. See how this is? It's basically a lock that screws that whole thing up there. So my ceiling has been caving in slowly. I think I staple gunned it. I ran out of screws, I ran out of ladder. Freezing cold. This is our wood pile. One cook, if you fill this up, it'll pretty much go through all this wood for one cook down. Here's our electric. We did wire electric in here. So the electric runs our light. It also runs a fan for our maple syrup. There's a big fan unit back there, and that puts air into the fire, which cooks it hotter and faster. This is our arch. If you go back in my maple syrup video, you can see the arch is there. This is the steam table that I was talking about. I think we bought this for like 50 bucks. Not a bad deal. And then these things can slide open if you really want to. So this is the fire blanket and the fire brick, and this is our air unit right there. We don't need that opening and closing, it's just what it does. Now this we ended up buying, and we're gonna have to remake this again, I think. And here's the inside. Oh, look at that, you got lots of light coming in. So I do need to go back through and vacuum it again. I don't remember what I was cooking in here. That grate comes out and we can vacuum everything out from underneath there. We've got fire brick all on the inside. Some of it's been coming out. You can see right there, that part came out. So we'll have to fix that. Eric went through and welded some strips in here to hold that shut. And this is just to keep water out of the inside of the unit. That is going to have to be fixed. That didn't work so good. I'm not sure what we're going to do. But when we bring the tanks in, we put this connector on, and this tank is going to have to be scrubbed. But we put this connector on and then feed this big pipe up into it, which also has to be scrubbed. And then it trickles down into the maple syrup container unit, which is up here usually. And this also holds our grill, which is kind of a bummer because usually we have like seats all right through here. So we can have like 3 or 4 people sitting. But now there's no room. So I don't know what we're gonna do. Hey, Tut. Hey, kitty. And this was our transporting tank, which is full of water. Yeah, and this is pretty much shot. That's how we transported our sap from bucket to bucket last year. I am not sure what we're gonna do for syrup season this year, because right now we don't have anything ready to roll. That's bad. I don't know, we'll have to see. We'll have to see what's gonna happen. It's gonna take a lot of work. But that is our sugar shack. Really, it's a shack. We call it the Ugly Sugar Castle tent thing.